Hey, it's me, Hrishikesh Kannan, popularly known as Hrishi K. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell icon now to get the latest videos and get taken into a world of entertainment, culture, sport, business, and current affairs.
The fact of the matter is, this is a very, very nuanced performance, both as Jay as well as Avinash. And he's a switch-off button very good. Because some of this stuff could drive you nuts, man. It's very intense, like you said.
After a very long time, when we finished the first season, I remember we were shooting the last episode, which was torture. Because it was the first time you see Jay and Avinash in the same frame at the same time and switching. And it was emotionally very demanding. And I remember we were shooting at night in a mill in Mumbai. And we finished and I sat in the car. And when I got home, the sun was just coming. I remember sitting in my garden. And I just called my uncle and I said, I'm done. You nichoroed everything. I said, I need to go on a holiday. And I actually did go. And he's like, sir, but I'm writing the next season. I said, he really worked me to the bone. I'm not complaining. I loved it. But Breathe has been one of the most emotionally demanding projects I've done. And I'm kind of glad the pandemic happened because I got 2 years to just kind of recuperate. But it's a very tough show to do. It was very, very difficult for me. Very difficult.
AB, I'm just so happy to see you. I'm always happy to see you. The beard seems to have grown a little longer since I
know.
My apologies.
My apologies for this scraggly look. I'm prepping for my next film, so I have to grow out my hair and my beard. So
no, it's looking good.
You go through that weird phase in between where it's just out of control. So I'm currently going through that.
9th of November, Abhishek Bachchan returns and Breathe into the shadows, if I may add. The beauty about playing a psychiatrist and then playing somebody who has a condition is that it's no more an upper middle class problem. I was speaking to Neerja Birla and she was talking to me about how they opened up a free helpline during the pandemic. And this whole thing about people who go to shrinks have to be upwardly mobile and have to afford it. They opened it up and she said the underprivileged sections of society, people were calling in through COVID, speaking to medical practitioners. And I think Breathe does that in a wonderfully subtle way. Talks about somebody who has a condition, a split personality, as well as have you playing a shrink in an era where mental health should be available to everybody.
Wow, yeah. To be very honest, I've just thought about that now that you've mentioned it. That was never actually something that we did by design. But you're absolutely right. I think somewhere things need to be normalized. And if an offshoot of what we do can help do that, then fantastic. But I have to admit, it's not something that was done by design. Yes, I'm aware of this because one of our dearest friends actually works with her and runs the school for her. And was one of the people that I actually consulted whilst prepping for the first season of Breathe.
Wow.
Is a dear friend of mine, Zirak Marker. And so yeah, he's been telling me all of this, and it's amazing because there is this perception that mental health is a very elitist problem, when actually it's not.
So I saw this wonderful visual of the entire unit standing up and clapping in unison for you. Does that happen very often?
Really? When did this happen? I don't remember.
The last season or this season shoot, you're saying something to the cop to the left of you. And Mayank says cut, and then everybody just spontaneously signs. You are having a bit of a meltdown in that particular season. You're on a table. But the question is, how often do you get live applause on the set from everybody on the set?
No, I pay Mayank to, when there's a tough scene, I give Mayank some money and I say, bhai, just start it off. So yeah. No, that doesn't happen too often. I think that was I remember this scene. We were shooting in Mira Road, and there's the first time Avinash breaks down after the months of frustration of not being able to find his daughter. And Mayank, it was a scene Mayank was really looking forward to. And he'd been winding me up since the morning. And Mayank has a very devious way of preparing his actors for a scene. If it's a scene that requires a certain element of aggression anger. He chooses locations which are like 4 hours away. So by the time you reach the studio, you're already in a really bad mood. And I've cracked this code. Amit and I have finally
So
cracked
you don't have
it.
to go to Lee Strasberg to learn it.
No. Just go to Mayank Sharma and he'll take you to Naigaon to shoot somewhere. And by the time you reach there, thanks to Mumbai traffic and Mumbai roads, you're already fully prepped. And so yeah, that morning he'd been winding me up all morning. And by the end of it, I said, okay, Mayank, just put the camera on, let me just do what I have to do. So I think he was so excited that he started clapping. It was very sweet of him, though.
But don't be modest here. Does it happen every film at a particular point? Or, I mean, we would like more applause. All of us, we're human, but I'm just saying.
I don't remember, Hrishi.
You don't
I
know.
don't,
Fair
I
enough,
don't
yeah.
really log these things. Because somewhere I think you know that it's very sweet. People that are on set are so invested in what we're doing. But the people who are going to judge it and who eventually we do it for are completely different. They need to applaud us. So I think those are the
very
ones.
beautifully put.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is your family. I mean, they're
Exactly.
Gonna,
And सब लोग मेहनत कर रहे हैं ना, सब in many days you've all been a part of it, so you're very emotionally involved. That's why every movie is a super hit when we go to the screenings, because everybody that's involved has come to see it, and there's an atmosphere built up, and it's fantastic. You don't see the flaws, and then you go to the theater the next day, and somebody who has absolutely nothing to do with this film and is, maybe sometimes begrudgingly spent 500, 600 rupees to watch the film, goes in with a completely different mindset. So they're the ones that matter.
I'm very excited to see, whenever there's a continuation of a series, who are the characters who've been thrown into the mix. I saw a very interesting promo with Naveen Kasturia.
Yes.
Fine actor. He's obviously
Wonderful.
up the ante.
Wonderful.
Tell me what you make of him. Yeah?
I loved collaborating with Naveen. I keep, every schedule I have to take a selfie with him. So, sir, can I have a selfie? And he said, you send me this, I'm going to post it during the release. I want to see if he actually posts it. But he's such a wonderful actor. And you know what I love about him is that he's so non-breathe. I think because in season, be it the original Breathe with Maddie, and then when we did Breathe into the Shadows, there's Amit, there's Nitya, there's Saiyami, there's myself. There's Hrishikesh, there's Shrikant. There's a world that we've created, a style that is very Breathe. It's intense, it's dark, it's broody. Naveen came in and he brought like TVF energy onto it, He just came and blew it all out of the water. And I was like, first day I'm like, hey, this is the sur he's catching. This is amazing. I was so excited. I used to look forward to the scenes with him because he just, you always bounce off each other as actors. And in Breathe, there's that comfort zone. Ki, I know Amit kaise react karega. I know how Nitya will do. You know that. And suddenly this guy, it was like throwing curveballs at you all the time. So you were it was wonderful. And his meter of acting is very different to what our meter was. For example, if you take Jay, Jay has a particular tone and a way in which he speaks, and he speaks slowly.
Yeah.
And he speaks very guttural. So, Jay is always like, Pata hai, and suddenly he's like, Acha, wait. And I just found that mixture so interesting. And he's got this weird, quirky energy, and I just loved it. And I really think he's one of the main reasons why this next season is going to be so much more watchable, because he's the one who's brought the different energy into it. So I loved working with him. I had no idea just how popular he was. And then, Aspirants came out, and I was like, wow, this guy is out there. And he was just fantastic. And he's this very unassuming Delhi boy. And, one day I remember we were shooting near Qutub Minar somewhere. And I thought it was the sweetest thing. We were shooting in a car. There's a very intense scene. So I'm just sitting there, trying to be in the moment. And suddenly, he's got these weird twitches, Naveen, sir. Achha, sir, sorry, my phone. Picked up his phone, his mom was FaceTiming him, all right? And she was asking him some really cute mom questions, and he was getting really embarrassed because there was Abhishek Bachchan sitting there very broody and trying to be Jay and all that. And, you could make out he was weird, like, should I introduce her and all? So I said, okay. So I spoke to his mom, and she was so excited, and then he started apologizing. I'm so sorry, because then the aunts came on the phone and all that kind of stuff. And he's this very normal Delhi kid, but the minute that camera comes on, he just evolves into this bundle of energy. It's fantastic. I loved working with him. I'm really upset he's not here for this interview because I said such nice things about him, which I'll never say to his face. I wish he had heard it.
Every time I've met Saiyami, the conversation is always veered towards sport.
Yes.
She's a sports junkie. And so are you.
Dude, she's a national level badminton and cricket player.
Yeah.
And I just had the privilege of doing another film with her after we finished shooting Breathe, Balki's film, which her and I have done called Ghumar, in which she's playing a cricketer. She's unbelievable. She's the own, she's one of the buddies on set. So like, when you've got like, if Subbu's taking a lot of time to light up the shot, if Saiyami is there, we can start shooting the breeze about, "Arey, aaj IPL mein ye hua, arey, isme ye nahi hona chahiye tha, arey, football mein ye ho raha hai." So she's the,
And she's met Federer and the who's who.
Amit is like a method trained Lee Strasberg actor.
Yeah.
Amit, you don't want to mess with half because he's fully into it. Only at the start of the day, he'll come, sit in my trailer, we have a coffee, we shoot the breeze, and then Amit is in the zone. So you don't want to disturb Amit. Saiyami, you can go and like, okay, chalo, dost hai, baat kar lo. She's great fun.
Great. The limp, was it in the script? Or was it something that was developed over the sands of time?
Not over time, in the initial days of the scripting. Mayank used to sit with me and we used to work out the characterizations and mannerisms. So the limp, the twitches were all things that we came out to, and then Mayank wrote into it. That way, he's very collaborative. Mayank is an unbelievable director. He gives such fine notes. But what's really nice is when you have a director who can give you very precise notes, sometimes, most of the time, they're not really open to any sort of discussion on how a scene should be played because they've worked it out. They've worked so hard on it. He still is very open to interpretation, and he in fact encourages it. And if in a scene something is just happening organically, he has an amazing ability of not saying cut at that point of time. As a director, you're handling so many different things that that, okay, once this scene and this dialogue and this action is done, it's cut. So it just comes naturally, okay, cut. But he's so into what he's doing and watching the scene. If he sees something new is happening, he just lets it go. And I find that amazing. So a lot of this stuff is things that Mayank and I developed over time.
You're very good at deflecting glory. That's the reason why I love you so much. But the fact of the matter is, this is a very, very nuanced performance, both as Jay as well as Avinash. And is your switch off button very good? Because some of this stuff could drive you nuts, man. It's like, it's very intense, like you said.
After a very long time, Hrishi, when we finished the first season, I remember we were shooting the last episode, which was torture. Because it was the first time you see Jay and Avinash in the same frame at the same time and switching. And it was emotionally very demanding. And I remember we were shooting at night in a mill in Mumbai. And we finished and I sat in the car. And when I got home, the sun was just coming. I remember sitting in my garden. And I just called Mayank and I said, I'm done. You've nichoroed everything. I said, I need to go on a holiday. And I actually did go. And he's like, sir, but I'm writing the next season. I said, he really worked me to the bone. I'm not complaining. I loved it. But Breathe has been one of the most emotionally demanding projects I've done. And I'm kind of glad the pandemic happened because I got 2 years to just kind of recuperate. But it's a very tough show to do. It was very, very difficult for me. Very difficult.
One of the greatest child actors ever to walk the planet, Kunal Kemu.
Yes.
Once told me that with child actors, either you luck out or you don't. There's no thing of can you prepare a child actor or not.
Right.
The girl who plays Sia, she's fabulous.
Yes, Ivana, she's beautiful.
Yeah, so just,
I've been very lucky.
Yeah.
I also did a film a couple of years ago called Ludo.
Of course.
And Inaya was there. Inaya is something else. She used to tell me my dialogues. Ivana does that. And now she's grown up a bit more. So I think she's a bit more aware of herself. And she's like, she'd actually come and say, so can we rehearse? Like, what? She's like, yeah, and I just love it. And what's really nice is you don't need to treat them as kids.
True.
Sometime back, children artists, you have to treat them like children. You have to get the performance. These guys are prepared. And Ivana comes and she's prepared. And, she's like, so, should we rehearse? I'm like, no, don't make us work hard. But she's on the ball. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. I think I've been so lucky with this season as well. Just first to get back all the original cast, and then we've got newer cast members who've just done fantastic work.
Nitya's wonderful. I mean,
she's brilliant, isn't she?
She's
just magic. You don't know when the camera's on with her.
But both of you together also, everything that plays out.
You're always as good as your co-actors, right?
Yeah.
I mean, acting is reacting. And with her, what I find amazing is there's no switch. Like you asked me, there's no switch with her. It's just, she just flows. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to watch her perform.
When you have a successful franchise, there's also pressure of doing another season.
Right.
Because of it being successful.
Right.
Everybody goes through it. The Thors and the Marvel movies of the world go through it.
Yeah, sure.
Do you say to Mayank, come to me when you have a proper storyline to take this forward, and only then will I consent to do another part? Or is it, hey, wow, this is the last day, are we doing another one from so-and-so time?
Well, I think by virtue of it being a web series, there's always that thought at the back of your mind that it can go on to multiple seasons. The challenge now will be, and now, if there is a season 3, I will obviously tell Mayank, convince me, because what was the basic underlying story of Breathe Into the Shadows? It was the basic concept of Ravan and the 10 heads.
True.
And Jay eliminating the 10 heads. He's eliminated 4. Yeah. There's 6 more to go. What happens once he's done? How do you take the story ahead from there? There are thoughts, I won't lie. I'm not at liberty to divulge them. But yes, I think going ahead, be it for Vikram from Abundantia, who's one of the creators, Mayank and myself, it has to be as strong a plot point as we've had in the Ravan heads to take it forward. But like I said, it's a web series. There's always that opportunity.
Yeah, but wonderful. I like the fact that you say, let's crack the idea first. And let's not put pressure on ourselves to do another one.
See, that season 2 was a dead ringer, right?
Of course.
He's got to
because
get
you left it at such a point.
Exactly. Yeah. And you've got Ravan's 10 heads, 4 are gone, 6 more to go. Let's get on with it. What happens when those 6 are done? What happens to Jay then? So it'll be interesting.
So you mean to say Amit Sadh has that morning coffee with you and goes into method actor mode?
Oh, yeah. Amit
he's intense, man.
He's a very intense guy. And the funny thing is, you see Kabir Sawant, there's no nonsense, and Amit is very into what he does, and he's got this body, he's a bull. But when he comes in the morning, he'll come in his track pants and his chappals, and he's like a baby.
Yeah, sweet.
He's such a sweet kid, and then he knows that he goes into his zone. So in the evening, he tries to compensate, saying, "Oh, come, let's have dinner," when he's not going to eat, because he's like into his body and all that. And but he's 2 different people. It's amazing.
What do you think of Navya, Jaya Bachchan, and Shweta Bachchan's podcast? I'm very curious because this is getting into our terrain, and they're doing a fabulous job.
Well, I think the boys of the family need to start a podcast to dispel all the things that they did. This mutual admiration society, patting each other on the back all the time. We keep making fun of them. So the boys have to start something to counter it.
But if you caught a few episodes, you must.
Yes,
it's highly entertaining.
Of course,
wonderful.
Of course. But I mean, like we say, that's dinner. That's what happens on our table.
Correct. That's wonderful. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Now for the rapid fire. You're already giving me a very steely gaze. You can blame your friend Karan Johar for this, for starting this whole practice.
I'm going to blame you for it.
So now listen, I'm just going to ask you 3 very simple questions.
Okay.
You answer them as Jay and Avinash. As in, we give you a situation, how would you react as Jay? How would you react as Avinash?
Oh, wow, okay, this is cool. Okay.
It's easy peasy.
No, it's tough, but I'll try.
Now, I know that you live in a bungalow, but you're as middle class as I am. If your building society chairman and secretary asked you to stop keeping potted plants on your balcony and watering them, you know what happens in buildings?
Yeah.
Somebody complains, secretary comes. How would you react as Jay? How would you react as Avinash?
Avinash would comply. Avinash, being a doctor, is somebody who's about the rules and is not very confrontational. Being a psychiatrist, part of his training is not to be confrontational, it's to listen. So Avinash would probably comply with them and say, I'm sorry, I'll make sure it doesn't happen anymore. Jay would just look at them and just say, Nahi.
Nice. If your favorite sports star was rude to you after you waited to meet him for hours,
Oh, it's my greatest fear.
you wait for hours and hours.
I have
and-
a story for this.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's my greatest fear. I have a few, but two of my topmost sporting idols are Sachin Tendulkar and Irvin Magic Johnson.
Lovely.
All right. And I've had the privilege of meeting both of them. And my biggest fear was, what if they let you down? They say, don't meet your heroes, they'll let you down. And I've seen that with, not people that I would call my idols, but I've seen with people that I have admiration for, and they aren't as impressive in person. And I was just praying, and to my luck, they both have been the most unbelievable people and have managed to retain that.
Magic is like a teddy bear. He's got that guffaw.
He's unbelievable. He was so humble, he was so down to earth, and he was so magical. And Sachin is God. Come on.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, my
So
God, that team.
I never got to meet Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I saw him from like 15 feet. I took photos of him and all that. But Magic Johnson, wow. So yeah, I'd dive if that happened to me.
Yeah, but as Avinash and Jay, how would Jay react? How would Avinash react if his favorite sports star was rude to him after waiting for hours?
All right. It's a very simple answer. Avinash would not react. Because the minute somebody does something wrong to Avi, Jay takes over. Jay would have a list. And he's checking it twice. Who's
4
naughty,
down, 6
who's
to go.
nice. Yeah, that's what Jay would do.
Final question to the rapid fire. If someone overtook you on the road and scratched your car, given that you are passionate about cars, how would you react as Jay? How would you react as Avinash?
This is the one situation, and every guy will get this, where Avinash and Jay would react exactly the same way. Nobody's going to overtake you and scratch your car, dude. That is not happening. That is not happening. The only good thing is now you can't really do stuff about it, as you shouldn't. It's wrong. Road rage is a real thing. Take a photo of their car and send it to Mumbai traffic police. They're amazing.
Yeah.
Come on, you can't react in a different way.
You can't.
Everybody's going to get a bit peeved.
ऋषि मैं यही हूँ और सब सुन रहा हूँ. Jay is back. अविनाश है और Jay है Jay. पर हम दोनों एक ही रूप के दो अंश हैं. मुझसे भी कोई सवाल पूछ लो, वरना 9 नवंबर दूर नहीं है.
Abhishek Bachchan. I'm just happy to see you. And I'm glad that you're not Jay or Avinash outside. Thank you very much.
Piss me off, see what happens. Thank you, brother.